Victoria. I jerked awake to the sharp smell of antiseptic and the cold steel of a surgical table beneath me. Congratulations, host. You've entered a classic dark romance novel world. You are now the abused heroine destined to die for love. A translucent blue screen flickered in front of my eyes. I am your legal education system. Legal. What? My voice came out hoarse. I tried to sit up, but leather straps pinned my wrists to the table. White surgical lights blazed overhead. To my right stood a man in an expensive charcoal suit. Tall, sharp-featured, impossibly handsome in that infuriating CEO protagonist way. Marcus Ashford, the male lead. Because this world's plot severely violates modern criminal law, your mission is to educate the characters on their crimes. Each successful lesson earns points. Accumulate 1,000 points to change the original ending and return to your world. This is insane. I'm hallucinating. I hit my head, or someone spiked my coffee. Now playing. Original ending. The screen shifted. I watched myself, or rather Elena Rivers, the body I now inhabited, lying pale and dying on this same surgical table. Marcus cradled her lifeless hand, his perfect face twisted in anguish. Elena, don't leave me. Wake up. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please, I'll do anything. But it was too late. Elena's heart monitor flatlined. Marcus collapsed, sobbing, while across town his mistress Celeste recovered beautifully with Elena's kidney. Years later, Marcus married Celeste out of guilt, raised their child, and spent every anniversary visiting Elena's grave. The video ended. I stared at the screen, my lawyer brain cataloging every legal violation I'd just witnessed. Coerced organ donation, medical malpractice, wrongful death. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. The romantic male lead murders the heroine for his mistress's kidney, realizes too late that he loved the victim, and we're supposed to find this touching? Correct. This is a dark romance novel. This isn't a romance. This is a crime documentary. A door hissed open. 2 men in white coats entered, doctors presumably, followed by Celeste herself, looking frail and beautiful in a wheelchair, clutching Marcus's hand. Marcus, she whispered, her voice trembling. Are you sure about this? I don't want to force— Shh! Marcus pressed a finger to her lips. Elena owes you this. You're the real daughter of the Chen family. She stole your identity, your life. The least she can do is save it now. I almost laughed. The audacity. Mr. Ashford, I said calmly, before we proceed, I'd like to negotiate. Marcus turned to me, his expression cold. There's nothing to negotiate. Lie down. The surgery starts now. Actually, there is. I met his eyes. If you want my kidney, I want $5 million. The room went silent. One of the doctors sputtered. Miss Rivers, this isn't the time for— Market rate for a kidney on the black market, I continued, as if I were discussing a corporate merger, is approximately $200,000 to $500,000 USD. But given the urgency, the fact that you're skipping the transplant list, and the emotional coercion involved, I'm charging a premium. $5 million. In writing. Marcus's jaw tightened. You think this is about money? I think, I said slowly, that if you're going to harvest my organ without my genuine consent, you should at least pay me for it. Unless you'd prefer I explain to a judge why you didn't. Ding! Legal education opportunity detected. Topic: organ trafficking and intentional injury. The system screen flashed. Educate Marcus Ashford on Penal Code Article 234, illegal organ harvesting. Reward: 50 points. Perfect. Mr. Ashford, I said, louder now, making sure everyone in the room could hear. Are you aware that under Penal Code Article 234, forcibly removing someone's organ without informed consent constitutes intentional injury? The sentence ranges from 3 to 10 years in prison. If the victim dies, which statistically I have a 15% chance of doing, you're looking at a murder charge. That's life in prison or the death penalty. Marcus's face darkened. You're being hysterical. This is for Celeste. She's dying. Then put her on the transplant list like everyone else, I shot back. Or are you admitting that you plan to illegally harvest and traffic human organs? Because that's an additional charge under Article 234A with a mandatory minimum of 5 years. Congratulations. Legal education successful. Plus 150 points. The blue notification popped up in my vision. My point counter now read 51,000. I felt a grim satisfaction. If I was stuck in this nightmare world, I might as well rack up points and teach these entitled criminals a lesson. Marcus leaned over me, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Elena, stop this. You owe Celeste everything. She's been kind enough to forgive you for stealing her life. Don't make me force you. Force me? I smiled sweetly. Mr. Ashford, that's called illegal detention and assault. Add another 3 years to your sentence. You think you can threaten me with the law? He laughed. Actually laughed. Do you know who I am? I'm Marcus Ashford. I could buy the judge, the jury, and the entire police department if I wanted to. Interesting, I said. So you're confessing to bribery and obstruction of justice. That's another felony. Plus 150 points. Current total, 100, 1,000. Marcus's expression shifted from amusement to confusion. What are you playing at? Nothing. I kept my voice light, casual. I'm simply stating facts. But if you insist on proceeding with this surgery, I'll need that $5 million. Transferred now. And I'll need you to specify in writing that this payment is for the purchase of my kidney. He stared at me. You want me to write a contract? Exactly. With both our signatures and witnesses. I glanced at the doctors. You two will do. Marcus looked torn between rage and disbelief. Finally, he pulled out his phone. Fine. If money is all you care about... Oh, I care about many things, I interrupted. Legal accountability, due process, not dying on an operating table because my organ recipient has a savior complex. His jaw clenched. He typed something on his phone. A moment later, my own phone, Elena's phone technically, buzzed. Transfer received $5,000 from Marcus Ashford. Memo, payment for kidney donation. I smiled. Thank you, Mr. Ashford. This contract, along with your memo specifying payment for kidney, is now documented evidence of illegal organ trafficking. I'll be sure to submit it to the authorities. The color drained from his face. You really thought I wanted your money? I sat up, snapping the leather restraints with a sharp yank. They hadn't even been buckled properly. Amateurs. I'm a lawyer, Mr. Ashford. I wanted evidence, and you just handed it to me. 100 points. Special bonus, evidence collection, current total, 200, 1,000. Marcus. Lunged forward, but I was faster. I grabbed my phone, my thumb already dialing. What are you doing? Celeste shrieked from her wheelchair. What I should have done the moment I woke up, I said. I'm calling the police. The line clicked. 911. What's your emergency? Yes, I'd like to report an attempted kidnapping, illegal detention, and conspiracy to commit organ trafficking. I'm at Ashford Memorial Hospital, private surgical wing. The suspects are currently in the room with me. Marcus's face went white. You wouldn't. I absolutely would. I met his eyes. You said you wanted my kidney, Mr. Ashford. But what you didn't realize is that I'm not Elena Rivers, the naive girl who loved you. I'm Victoria Chen, and I'm the lawyer who's going to put you in prison." The door burst open. 3 police officers stormed in, weapons drawn. One of them, a tall man in his 40s, barked, "Everyone on the ground! Hands where I can see them!" Marcus raised his hand slowly, his face a mask of shock. "This is a misunderstanding. I'm Marcus Ashford. Do you know who I am?" "Yes, sir," the officer said flatly. "You're a citizen suspected of multiple felonies. Please come with us." "This is insane," Celeste screamed. "Officer, she's lying! She stole my identity! She owes me her kidney!" I turned to her, my voice calm. "Miss Celeste, I'd advise you to consult with a lawyer before making any more statements. Conspiracy to commit organ trafficking is also a crime, and you just admitted to it in front of 3 witnesses. Plus 150 points. Current total, 250 Tau 1000. As the officers handcuffed Marcus, he turned to me, his voice shaking. "Elena, Victoria, whatever your name is, you can't do this. I'll call my uncle. He's the head of the Ashford group. He'll have you destroyed." I smiled. "Oh, I'm counting on it." At the police station, I sat in a quiet interrogation room, giving my statement to a detective. My hands were steady as I handed over my phone with the incriminating transfer, the recorded conversation, and every piece of evidence I'd collected. "Miss Chen," the detective said, reviewing the files. "This is extremely thorough. Are you a lawyer?" "Yes," I said. "Corporate law usually, but I minored in criminal justice." He nodded, impressed. "Well, you've made our job a lot easier. We'll be pressing charges for illegal detention, conspiracy to commit organ trafficking, and attempted assault. Mr. Ashford is looking at serious time." "Good." I leaned back in my chair, feeling the exhaustion hit me. My body, Elena's body, was trembling from adrenaline. I'd just escaped death. I'd just turned a toxic romance plot into a criminal case, and I'd earned 250 points in under an hour. The door opened. A man stepped in, tall, impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit, with dark hair and sharp, calculating eyes. He looked to be in his late 30s, and his presence filled the room with an almost tangible authority. I froze. "Sebastian?" My boss. The senior, partner at Chen & Associates, the law firm where I'd worked for the past 3 years. The man who'd mentored me, pushed me, and turned me into one of the top corporate attorneys in the city. What was he doing here? He looked at me, his expression unreadable. Then slowly, he smiled. "Victoria," he said, "I see you've been busy." I stared at him. "Sebastian, how are you here? This is a dark romance novel world?" He pulled out a chair and sat down across from me. "Yes, I'm aware. I woke up 3 hours ago in the body of Sebastian Ashford, Marcus's uncle and the current head of the Ashford Empire." My jaw dropped. "You transmigrated too?" "Apparently." He glanced at his own phone, where a familiar blue screen glowed. "I also have the legal education system, currently at 150 points. You?" 250. He raised an eyebrow, impressed. "You called the police on the male lead within an hour of waking up. I knew I hired you for a reason." Despite everything, I laughed. "You're telling me we both got isekai'd into the same cheesy novel, and we're both bound to a system that rewards us for teaching criminals about the law?" "It appears so." He leaned back, his expression thoughtful. "Which means we have 2 options. We can compete to see who reaches 1,000 points first and returns home. Or we can work together, double our efficiency, and dismantle this lawless world one lawsuit at a time." I met his eyes. "I vote for option 2. He extended his hand. "Then let's make this official. Victoria Chen, will you be my co-counsel in the most absurd case of our careers? I shook his hand, a genuine smile crossing my face. Absolutely. Let's teach this novel world what justice actually looks like. System notification, alliance formed. Bonus activated, shared points for joint legal education. New goal, 1,000 combined points. As Marcus was led past the interrogation room in handcuffs, still screaming about his rights and his family's power, I couldn't help but feel a deep, satisfying sense of victory. The old Elena Rivers had died for love. But Victoria Chen? She was going to live and make sure every single villain in this story faced the consequences of their crimes. Officer, I called out. I'd also like to file a report against Celeste Chen for conspiracy, fraud, and identity theft. I have documentation. Sebastian smirked. And I'll be filing a corporate lawsuit against the hospital for medical malpractice and violation of patient rights. 100 points each. Current total, 350, 1,000. This was going to be fun. Welcome to Cold Fusion family. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because this story is about to take you on a ride you won't forget. To my day one subscribers, my real ones who've been here from the start, I love y'all. Thank you for showing up every single time. Before we jump in, let me pray over you real quick. God, I'm asking you right now to bless every single person watching this. Cover them with your protection. Bless their family, their health, their finances. Give them peace in the storm and strength when they feel weak. Let miracles happen in their life today, in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, let's get into it. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a story about revenge. It's about a woman who woke up in a world where rich men think they own everything, including other people's organs, and she said, "Not today." The moment Sebastian and I stepped out of the interrogation room, two men in black suits materialized in front of the exit. They weren't police officers. Too polished. Too expensive. Their earpieces glinted under the fluorescent lights, and their stance screamed, "Private security." One of them, a man built like a refrigerator with a buzz cut, held up a hand the size of a dinner plate. "Miss Rivers," he said, his voice flat. "Mr. Ashford would like you to remain here until he's released, for your own safety." I stopped walking. Sebastian, beside me, went very still. "My own safety," I repeated slowly. "How thoughtful. And what happens if I refuse?" The bodyguard's expression didn't change. "Then we'll have to insist." I glanced at Sebastian. He was watching the two men with the clinical detachment of a lawyer calculating damages. His eyes flicked to me, and I saw the slightest quirk of his lips. A silent question. "Your move or mine?" I stepped forward. "Gentlemen," I said pleasantly, "I appreciate your concern for my well-being, truly. But I'm going to walk out that door now. If you physically prevent me from leaving, do you know what that's called?" The second bodyguard, younger, blonde, slightly less robotic, frowned. "We're just doing our job, ma'am." "Your job," I said, "is illegal detention, also known as false imprisonment. Let me educate you." Legal education opportunity. Detected. False imprisonment. The system notification flashed in my peripheral vision. I kept my eyes on the bodyguards. Under Penal Code Article 238, illegally detaining or depriving someone of their personal freedom by force, threat, or any other method constitutes false imprisonment. The sentence is up to 3 years in prison. Now you're blocking that exit. You just told me I can't leave until your boss, who, by the way, is currently under arrest for organ trafficking, gives permission. That's textbook false imprisonment. The blonde one shifted uncomfortably. "We're not detaining you. We're just advising you to stay." With your bodies blocking the only exit, I said, and you threatened to insist if I refused. That's coercion. That's force. Congratulations. You've just committed a felony on behalf of a man who's about to be indicted. The refrigerator man's jaw tightened. Miss Rivers, Mr. Ashford is a powerful man. You're making a mistake. No, Sebastian said, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. You are. He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, and turned it toward them. The recording app glowed red. I've just recorded your confession to false imprisonment and attempted coercion. I'm Sebastian Ashford, head of the Ashford Group and, unfortunately, Marcus's uncle. If you don't step aside in the next 5 seconds, I will personally ensure you're both named as co-defendants in Miss Chen's lawsuit. Your employer won't protect you. He can't even protect himself. The two men exchanged glances. 5, Sebastian said. 4. The blonde. 1 stepped aside. 3. The refrigerator hesitated, then moved. I walked past them, my head high. As I reached the door, the system chimed. Congratulations. Legal education successful. Plus 150 points. Bonus, nonviolent conflict resolution. Plus 125 points. Current total, $425,000. Sebastian followed me out into the night air. The city stretched before us, glittering and indifferent. You know, he said, in our world, that would have ended with a fistfight or a car chase. Good thing we're lawyers, I said. He smiled. Good thing indeed. System notification, warning. Marcus Ashford has been released on bail. Threat level, high. Recommend defensive strategy. I looked at the glowing text. Sebastian, I said, how do you feel about preemptive litigation? I feel, he said, like we're going to bankrupt a CEO before breakfast. Perfect. We ended up at a 24-hour diner 3 blocks from the precinct, because apparently even in a dark romance novel world, lawyers still run on coffee and spite. Sebastian sat across from me in the cracked vinyl booth, his expensive suit looking absurdly out of place next to the laminated menus and flickering neon sign advertising World's Best Pancakes. He'd ordered black coffee. I'd ordered the same, plus a stack of those allegedly world-class pancakes, because nearly having my kidney stolen had given me an appetite. So, I said, pouring an obscene amount of syrup, you're Marcus's uncle, the head of the Ashford Empire. In the original novel, what happens to you? Sebastian's expression darkened. I'm a minor character. I appear in exactly 3 scenes. Twice to bail Marcus out of social embarrassments, and once at the end to attend his wedding to Celeste. I'm described as cold, untouchable, and married to his work. He paused. The author clearly had no idea what a corporate lawyer actually does. Join the club. I stabbed a piece of pancake. Elena dies on the operating table in Chapter 2. I don't even get a personality beyond tragically devoted. Well, you've certainly remedied that, Sebastian said dryly, calling the police on the male lead within an hour of transmigrating, negotiating a payment for your own organ just to collect evidence. I have to say, Victoria, you've turned a 2-chapter death scene into a potential RICO case. I grinned. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. He almost smiled. Don't let it go to your head. We sat in silence for a moment. Outside, the city hummed with life. Cars passing, neon signs buzzing, people living their fictional lives unaware that their world was built on toxic tropes and felonies. Sebastian, I said quietly, what if we don't just survive this world? What if we fix it? He looked up. Explain. The legal education system wants us to teach these people about the law, right? Every time we do, we get points. But think about what that actually means. I leaned forward. This world operates on dark romance logic. Rich men can do whatever they want. Women are property. Crimes are romantic gestures. But if we systematically educate every villain, every corrupt official, every complicit bystander, we don't just change the plot, Sebastian finished. We change the entire legal framework of this world. Exactly. I pulled out my phone, Elena's phone, and opened the Notes app. Marcus is just the beginning. According to the original novel, there's Celeste's father who runs an underground gambling ring, the hospital director who accepts bribes, Marcus's mother who's embezzled millions from charity foundations, and that's just the Ashford family. Sebastian's eyes gleamed with something dangerous. You want to go after all of them. I want to dismantle the system that let them think they were untouchable, I said. And I want to do it legally. Lawsuits, criminal charges, evidence, everything admissible in court. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out his own phone and opened a document. I've been tracking the Ashford family's financial irregularities for years, he said. As the head of the company, I have access to every transaction, every offshore account, every suspicious deal Marcus and his mother have made. I never had cause to act on it before. But now? He slid the phone across the table. I scanned the document, pages and pages of securities fraud, tax evasion, insider trading. Sebastian, I breathed, this is enough to take down half the elite class. I know. He met my eyes. So here's my proposal, counselor. You handle the criminal cases. I'll handle the corporate litigation. We pool our points, share our evidence, and turn this novel into a legal textbook on accountability. I extended my hand across the table. Deal. He shook it. System notification, strategic alliance confirmed. Bonus unlocked, joint case coordination. All shared legal victories now grant double points. We both saw the notification. We both smiled. Marcus is going to regret ever meeting us, I said. Sebastian's smile turned predatory. Oh, he already does. I discovered my belongings in a dumpster behind Ashford Memorial Hospital at 9:47 a.m., courtesy of Celeste Chen and her flair for the dramatic. My laptop, a custom-built machine with 3 years of case files, my leather briefcase, a graduation gift from my mother, my phone charger, my notebooks, even the emergency granola bars I kept in my desk drawer. All of it stuffed into a industrial trash bin like common garbage, while Celeste stood nearby with her phone out, filming. This is what happens, she announced to her camera, her voice sweet and venomous. When you try to destroy someone's life. Elena Rivers thought she could send my Marcus to jail, but karma is a bitch. She smiled at me. Oops. Did I accidentally throw away your things? My bad. Around us, a small crowd had gathered, hospital staff, visitors, people with their own phones out. This was clearly meant to be my humiliation, my breaking point. The moment the abused heroine finally crumbled, I pulled out my phone, my actual phone, not the one in the dumpster, and started recording. Celeste Chen, I said calmly, on the morning of October 15th at approximately 9:45 a.m., did you willfully and maliciously destroy my personal property by discarding it in this dumpster? She blinked, her smile faltering. What? Simple question. Yes or no? It's just trash, she stammered. You're trash, so your stuff belongs in the trash. It's symbolic. Symbolic destruction of property is still destruction of property. I zoomed in on the dumpster with my camera. That laptop alone is worth $3,000. The briefcase, $800. Combined value of damaged items, approximately $5,000. Under civil law, I can sue you for property damage, emotional distress, and... I panned the camera to her phone, still recording. Since you're live streaming this to your 50,000 followers while making defamatory statements about my character, I can also sue for public defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The color drained from her face. You can't sue me over a trash can. Watch me. Legal education opportunity detected. Property damage and defamation. Let me educate you, Miss Chen. Under tort law, property damage occurs when someone intentionally destroys another person's belongings. The fact that you filmed it and posted it publicly demonstrates malicious intent, which means I can pursue punitive damages. As for defamation, calling someone trash and accusing them of destroying lives to 50,000 people constitutes libel. The penalty can reach 6 figures depending on reputational harm. I walked closer, still recording. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to compensate me for every item in that dumpster. You're going to issue a public apology retracting your defamatory statements, and you're going to pay my legal fees. Or, I smiled sweetly, I'll see you in court, and I'll sue for the maximum amount allowed by law. Celeste's perfectly made-up face twisted in rage. You're insane! It's just a stupid laptop. It's my stupid laptop. With 3 years of work on it. Backed up, of course, but that's not the point. I glanced at the growing crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all witnesses. Please note the time, date, and the defendant's admission of guilt. Several people nodded, their phones still recording. Celeste looked around wildly, realizing she'd trapped herself. Marcus is out on bail for organ trafficking, I interrupted. I don't think he's in a position to help you right now. Her hands shook. Fine, I'll pay you. Just stop. Stop recording. Too late. This is evidence. I turned off my camera. I'll have my lawyer send over the settlement demand. Sebastian Ashford of Ashford and Associates. You know him, right? Your almost uncle-in-law? She looked like she might cry. Congratulations. Legal education successful. 175 points. Bonus. Creative. Application of tort law. 125 points. Current total, $525 to $1,000. I walked away, leaving Celeste standing beside the dumpster she'd meant to humiliate me with. Sebastian was going to love this case. The Ashford family's charity gala was exactly as nauseating as I'd expected. Crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, and enough hypocrisy to fill a courtroom. I was only there because Sebastian insisted we needed to maintain appearances while building our case against Marcus. I was wearing a borrowed black gown and my most professional smile when Celeste appeared beside me, her eyes red-rimmed from our earlier dumpster encounter. Victoria, she said loudly, drawing attention from nearby guests. I think you dropped something. She reached into my clutch, which had been sitting on the table, and pulled out a diamond necklace that absolutely had not been there 5 minutes ago. The room went silent. That's the Ashford heirloom necklace, someone gasped. Celeste's eyes widened in theatrical shock. Victoria, did you steal this from the family vault? I looked at the necklace, then at Celeste, then at the 20-plus witnesses now staring at me with varying degrees of scandal and judgment. No, I said calmly, but you just committed evidence tampering, theft, and attempted fraud. Congratulations. Celeste's fake concern cracked. What are you talking about? I found it in your bag. You put it in my bag, I corrected. Approximately 6 minutes ago when I went to the restroom. I know this because... I pulled out my phone. I started recording the moment I saw you lurking near my table. Smile for the camera, Celeste. I hit play. The video showed Celeste glancing around nervously, opening my clutch and slipping something inside before walking away. The crowd murmured. Marcus's mother, a severe woman dripping in pearls, pushed through the crowd. "This is absurd! That necklace is priceless. Victoria, how dare you—" "Mrs. Ashford," I interrupted. "I've never touched that necklace before this moment, but I'd be happy to prove it. Let's get a forensic team here to dust for fingerprints. If my prints are anywhere on that necklace besides where I'm currently holding it, I'll confess to theft. But if the only prints are Celeste's and whoever else she got to help her steal it from your vault, then we'll know who the real thief is." Mrs. Ashford's face went pale. "You can't just demand forensic testing at a private event," Celeste sputtered. "Actually, I can. It's called preserving evidence. And since you've accused me of felony theft in front of 50 witnesses, I have every right to defend myself." I turned to Sebastian, who stood near the bar looking far too entertained. "Mr. Ashford, as head of the family, I assume you'll want to cooperate with a police investigation into how a priceless heirloom was stolen from your vault." Sebastian set down his whiskey. "Absolutely. In fact, I'll call them now." "Wait." Celeste grabbed my arm. "This is just a misunderstanding. I thought—" "You thought you could frame me," I said, shaking her off. "But here's the thing about frame-ups, Celeste. They require intelligence. And you've just confessed on camera to theft, evidence tampering, and filing a false police report." I smiled. "I'll be requesting a search warrant for your residence. I'm very curious what other misplaced Ashford property we'll find." "Legal education opportunity. Detected evidence tampering and false accusation. Under Penal Code Article 243, planting evidence to falsely incriminate someone is a felony punishable by up to 3 years in prison. Combined with the theft of the necklace itself and your live stream defamation from yesterday, you're looking at a very uncomfortable conversation with prosecutors. Congratulations. Legal education successful. Plus 100 points. Bonus. Evidence preservation and chain of custody protocol. Plus 150 points. Current total 675,1000. Celeste collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I handed the necklace to Sebastian. "Shall we call the police?" I asked. "Already done," he said. "Best gala ever." Mrs. Chen found me by the dessert table, her face a mask of maternal concern that didn't quite reach her calculating eyes. "Victoria, darling," she said, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. "I know you're upset about the misunderstanding with Celeste, but family is family. Surely we can resolve this without involving the authorities?" Translation. Please drop the charges before my daughter goes to prison. I picked up a chocolate-covered strawberry. "Mrs. Chen, Celeste committed multiple felonies. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a crime spree." Her smile tightened. "You're being dramatic. After everything we did for you, taking you in, raising you as our own when your real family abandoned you, this is how you repay us?" Several people glanced over, their expressions sympathetic. To them, I was the ungrateful adopted daughter attacking her generous family. Classic novel logic. I needed to change the narrative. Permanently. System store available. Current points, 675. Recommended item, truth serum powder, 300 points. Duration, 5 minutes. Subject will compulsively answer all questions truthfully. I nearly laughed. A truth serum. Of course the system had truth serum. Purchase confirmed. 300 points. Current total, 375,1000. A small packet materialized in my clutch, barely visible, shimmering with a faint blue glow that only I could see. The label read, "Dissolves instantly. Tasteless. Works within 30 seconds. Mrs. Chen was still talking, performing her wounded mother act for the audience. "I just want my daughters to reconcile. Is that so wrong?" "Not at all," I said sweetly. "Here, let's toast to family." I handed her a fresh glass of champagne from a passing waiter's tray, having already dumped the powder into it while she wasn't looking. To the truth. She hesitated, then took the glass. To family. She drank. I counted to 30. Mrs. Chen, I said casually, how exactly did I end up in your family? Her mouth opened. For a moment she looked confused, like she was trying to stop herself from speaking. Then the words spilled out. I switched you and Celeste at the hospital when you were newborns. I worked as a nurse. Celeste was born to a wealthy family, but she was weak, sickly. You were healthy, strong. I knew if I gave them you and kept Celeste, they'd raise their daughter with every advantage while I could mold Celeste into whatever I wanted. The entire ballroom went silent. Mrs. Chen clapped a hand over her mouth, her eyes wide with horror. You switched babies? Someone whispered. That's kidnapping! Identity fraud! I pulled out my phone, still recording. Mrs. Chen, just to clarify for the court record, you intentionally switched 2 infants at birth, gave the Chen family's biological daughter to strangers, and raised me as a replacement while you abused me for not being the real daughter you'd stolen? Yes. She was crying now, trying to stop talking but unable to. I hated you. You had everything Celeste should have had, so I made sure you suffered for it. Every day. Legal education opportunity. Detected. Kidnapping. Identity fraud. Child abuse. Under Penal Code Article 240, kidnapping a minor carries a sentence of 10 years to life. Article 280 covers identity fraud, another 5 years. And Article 260 on child abuse, that's 3 to 7 years. You're looking at life in prison, Mrs. Chen. Congratulations. Legal education successful. 150 points. Bonus. Public confession obtained. 100 points. Current total. $625, $1,000. Security was already moving toward her. Sebastian appeared at my side, his phone to his ear, already calling the police. Mrs. Chen collapsed, sobbing. What did you do to me? I asked you a question, I said. You answered honestly. Novel concept, isn't it? Marcus cornered me in the hallway outside the ballroom, just as the police were hauling his future mother-in-law away in handcuffs. Victoria, he said, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. You've gone too far. My mother, Celeste, Mrs. Chen. You're tearing apart every family connected to mine. When is enough enough? I looked at him, really looked at him. In the original novel, Marcus Ashford was described as devastatingly handsome, powerful, magnetic, the kind of man who made women forget their self-respect. Standing here now, all I saw was an entitled criminal who tried to steal my organs and thought he was the victim. Enough, I repeated. Marcus, you tried to harvest my kidney without consent. You're asking when I've gone too far? That was different, he snapped. Celeste needed a lawyer, not a black market organ. I stepped closer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave me alone. You're going to plead guilty to the charges against you, and you're going to hope that the prosecutor I'm working with feels merciful. Because if you continue to harass me, I will bury you in litigation so deep your great-grandchildren will still be paying my legal fees. His jaw clenched. You think you're untouchable now? You think because you've got some evidence and a few lucky breaks that you can... Marcus. Sebastian's voice cut through the hallway like a blade. He walked toward us, immaculate in his tailored suit, radiating the kind of power that came from owning half the city. Marcus immediately stepped back, his arrogance faltering. Uncle Sebastian, Marcus said. I was just harassing my partner, Sebastian finished. He moved to stand beside me, his hand settling possessively on the small of my back. Were you about to threaten Victoria again? Because I have lawyers specifically for nephews who don't know when to quit. Marcus's eyes widened. Your partner? Did I stutter? Sebastian's smile was all teeth. Victoria Chen is my partner, personally and professionally, which makes her part of this family, specifically the part of the family that actually respects the law. He paused. That means, Marcus, you will treat her with the respect she deserves. You will address her appropriately, and you will never, under any circumstances, threaten her again. I watched Marcus's face cycle through shock, disbelief, and finally, humiliated understanding. You can't be serious, Marcus said. She's Elena, the nobody I was going to— The woman you attempted to murder, Sebastian corrected coldly. Yes, I'm aware. I'm also aware that she's smarter than you, more capable than you, and significantly less likely to end up in federal prison. So I'll ask you one more time, nephew. Do you understand? Marcus looked between us, his perfect features twisted in impotent rage. Then slowly, he bowed his head. Yes, Uncle Sebastian. I understand. Good. Sebastian's hand tightened slightly on my back. Now apologize to Victoria. Properly. Marcus's face went red. For a moment, I thought he might refuse. Then he looked at me, and I saw something break behind his eyes. I'm sorry, he said, the words strangled. Miss Chen, I apologize for everything. Congratulations. Status change detected. You are now recognized as Sebastian Ashford's partner. Relationship bonus unlocked, Powai 100 points. Current total, $725, $1,000. I smiled. Apology noted, Mr. Ashford. Now get out of my sight before I add stalking to your charges. He left. Sebastian turned to me, his expression softening slightly. Was that too much? That, I said, was perfect. I woke up to 847 death threats, 3,000 messages calling me a homewrecker, and a trending hashtag, Tor Victoria Chen is trash. Someone had leaked a doctored photo of me and Sebastian at the gala, photoshopped to make it look like we were kissing passionately while Marcus watched in the background. The caption read, Gold digger seduces CEO's uncle after destroying his nephew's life. No shame. The comments were vicious. She deserves everything coming to her. Someone should teach this bitch a lesson. I hope she dies alone. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. My email was flooded. Even Elena's old social media accounts, which I'd barely touched, were being bombarded with coordinated attacks. I scrolled through the messages, my lawyer brain cataloging patterns. Same grammar mistakes, same posting, intervals, same IP address clusters. This wasn't organic outrage. This was a bot farm. Sebastian appeared in my doorway. I'd been staying in one of his guest rooms since the gala for security reasons, holding 2 cups of coffee and looking remarkably calm for someone whose reputation was also being dragged through the mud. They're getting desperate, he said, handing me a cup. They hired a cyberbullying campaign, I said. Professional level. Probably cost them 6 figures. Then let's make sure they regret every penny. I opened my laptop. System. I need information. Can you trace IP addresses? System function available. Digital forensics package, 100 points. Traces origin of online harassment, identifies bot networks, and compiles legally admissible evidence. Purchase confirmed. 100 points. Current total, $625, $1,000. My screen filled with data, IP addresses, payment records, the company Marcus's mother had hired to run the bot farm, everything. Sebastian, I said, slowly, what's the legal precedent for suing 10,000 individual social media accounts for defamation, harassment, and emotional distress? He raised an eyebrow. There isn't one. No one's ever tried it. Perfect. Let's make history. 3 hours later, I drafted a mass litigation complaint. Every single account that had posted threats, defamatory statements, or harassing messages received a legal notice. 10,000 individual lawsuits filed simultaneously through an automated system Sebastian's legal team had built. The internet exploded. Is this legal? Can she actually sue us? I was just joking. I went live on social media, my face calm, my voice steady. To everyone who participated in the harassment campaign against me, yes, I can sue you. Yes, I will. Under tort law, defamation, cyberbullying, and threats of violence are all actionable offenses. The fact that you're hiding behind anonymous accounts doesn't protect you. I have your IP addresses. I have your payment information if you're part of the bot network, and I have screenshots of every single threat. I held up a stack of printed legal notices. You have 48 hours to issue a public apology and retract your statements. Otherwise, I'll see you in court. All 10,000 of you. Legal education opportunity detected. Cyberbullying and digital defamation, mass scale. Congratulations. Legal education successful. Public awareness campaign. Plus 200 points. Bonus, innovative legal strategy. Plus 100 points. Current total, $925 $1,000. Within an hour, the apologies started flooding in. Within 3 hours, the bot farm company issued a statement blaming technical errors. By morning, Yaur Victoria Chenistrash had been replaced by Shaur She Actually Sue Them. Sebastian watched the chaos unfold from beside me, his expression somewhere between impressed and amused. You just weaponized the legal system against the internet, he said. No, I corrected. I just reminded the internet that actions have consequences. Even in a fictional world. The Ashford family's emergency board meeting took place in their marble and mahogany conference room, with 20-foot ceilings and portraits of dead patriarchs glaring down at us. Marcus sat at one end of the table, his lawyer beside him. Mrs. Ashford sat across from them, flanked by her own legal team. Celeste, out on bail, looked like she hadn't slept in days. Various board members, distant relatives, and corporate officers filled the remaining seats. Sebastian and I sat at the head of the table. I opened my laptop. Thank you all for coming, I said pleasantly. I know you're busy people, so I'll make this quick. Over the past 2 weeks, Mr. Ashford and I have compiled evidence of 847 criminal violations committed by members of this family. The charges include, but are not limited to, organ trafficking, kidnapping, identity fraud, embezzlement, securities fraud, tax evasion, bribery, and conspiracy to commit murder. I clicked a button. The screen behind me lit up with a slideshow, bank records, emails, recorded confessions, forensic evidence. Mrs. Ashford alone has embezzled $47 million from the Ashford Foundation charity over the past decade. Marcus facilitated illegal organ harvesting and attempted murder. Celeste committed theft, evidence tampering, and fraud. Your CFO has been running a Ponzi scheme through shell companies. Your head of security falsely imprisoned multiple people, and your family lawyer has been bribing judges for 15 years. The room was dead silent. Now, I continued, you have 2 options. Option 1, you cooperate fully. Marcus pleads guilty and serves his sentence. Mrs. Ashford returns every cent she stole and steps down from all board positions. Celeste enters a rehabilitation program and completes 500 hours of community service. The rest of you resign quietly, and the company restructures under new leadership, specifically Sebastian Ashford, who will ensure this family never commits another crime. Mrs. Ashford's face was white. And option 2? Option 2, Sebastian said, his voice cold. We take all of this evidence to the prosecutor, the SEC, the IRS, and every media outlet in the country. You go to trial, you lose, you go to prison, and the Ashford empire collapses completely, taking your family name, your fortune, and your freedom with it. He slid a document across the table. You have 60 seconds to decide. Marcus's lawyer frantically whispered to him. Mrs. Ashford looked like she might be sick. Celeste was openly crying. This is extortion, someone sputtered. No, I corrected. Extortion is threatening harm to extract money or favors. We're offering you a choice between facing legal consequences now or facing worse legal consequences later. That's called plea bargaining. It's perfectly legal. Legal education opportunity. Detected, RICO conspiracy and white-collar crime, family-wide. Under the RICO Act, when multiple family members engage in a pattern of criminal activity through a shared enterprise, they can all be charged under conspiracy statutes. The penalties include asset forfeiture, treble damages, and up to 20 years in federal prison per count. Do the math. Congratulations. Legal education successful. Corporate takedown. 200 points. Bonus. Family-wide legal accountability achieved. 150 points. Current total, $1,275 $1,000. Goal achieved. Return portal now available. I blinked at the notification. We'd done it. 1,000 points. We could go home, but I wasn't finished yet. Marcus looked at me, his face hollow. If we take option 1, you'll really let us avoid prison? Some of you, I said. Marcus, you're going to prison regardless. You tried to murder me, but your sentence could be 5 years instead of 25 if you cooperate. He closed his eyes. Fine, Mrs. Ashford said hoarsely. Option 1, we'll do whatever you want. Sebastian smiled. Excellent choice. I closed my laptop. Justice, apparently, looked good on me. Marcus found me on the rooftop of Sebastian's penthouse 3 days after the board meeting, while I was deciding whether to go home. The return portal shimmered in my vision, a translucent blue doorway only I could see, hovering at the edge of the roof like a promise. One step through, and I'd wake up in my real office, back in my real body, with my real life waiting. But something made me hesitate. Victoria, Marcus said quietly behind me. I didn't turn around. If you're here to threaten me again, I should warn you that I'm recording everything, and Sebastian's security team is watching. I'm not here to threaten you. His voice was different, raw, stripped of its usual arrogance. I'm here to apologize. You already apologized, under duress. It doesn't count. I know. He walked to the railing beside me, keeping a careful distance. That's why I wanted to do it again, properly this time. I finally looked at him. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, his expensive suit rumpled, his hair uncombed. This wasn't the polished CEO from the novel. This was someone who'd lost everything and was still trying to figure out why. Victoria, He swallowed hard. I almost killed you. I was so convinced that Celeste needed saving, that you owed her something, that I didn't even see you as human. I saw you as an obstacle, a resource. And that's... His voice broke. That's unforgivable. You're right, I said. It is. I've been reading the penal code, he continued. Every night since you had me arrested. I'm on Article 300 now. Do you know how many laws I broke? How many people I hurt because I thought being rich meant I was above consequences? I was quiet. My lawyer says I'll probably serve 7 years if I take the plea deal you offered. 7 years to think about what I did. He looked at me. I deserve more than that. I deserve what you said in court, 25 years, life even, because I tried to take yours. Legal education opportunity detected. Genuine remorse and accountability. Marcus, I said slowly, Do you understand why what you did was wrong? Not because you got caught, not because you're facing prison, but fundamentally, do you understand? He nodded. I treated you like property, like your body belonged to me, to Celeste, to anyone but you. I thought love meant sacrifice, but real love. He laughed bitterly. Real love means respecting someone's autonomy, their choices, their right to say no. I didn't love Elena. I didn't even see her. I just used her. Congratulations. Legal education successful. True understanding achieved. Pull 100 points. Current total, $1,375 year $1,000. I turned to face him fully. Marcus, here's the thing. You apologizing to me doesn't matter. I'm not the one you need forgiveness from. He frowned. Then who? The law, I said. You violated the social contract. You broke the rules that keep society from descending into chaos. So don't apologize to me. Apologize to the law. Serve your sentence. Become the kind of person who would never do this again. And maybe you'll deserve forgiveness. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. Thank you, he said, for stopping me before I became a murderer, for teaching me that consequences aren't punishments, they're corrections. He walked away. I stood there, watching the portal shimmer. Sebastian appeared beside me. Are you ready? I don't know, I admitted. We changed this world, made it better. If we leave, will it stay that way? The system says the changes are permanent, he said. The laws we taught them, the precedents we set, they're part of this world now. I looked at the city below, transformed, safer, more just than when we'd arrived. Then let's go home, I said. We stepped through the portal together. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting at my desk, my real desk, with case files scattered around me and cold coffee in my mug. My phone buzzed. Meeting in 5 minutes, Sebastian, I smiled. Some stories are worth rewriting, but some lives are worth returning to. The end final system message. Mission complete. Total points, 1,375. World status, reformed. Thank you for your service, Attorney Chen. 6 months later, I testified at Marcus's sentencing hearing. The judge asked if I had any final words. I looked at the courtroom, filled with victims of the Ashford family's crimes, reporters, law students taking notes, and said, true power isn't found in wealth or the ability to control others. It's found in protecting human rights and upholding the rule of law. Revenge isn't about violence. It's about justice. Marcus nodded from the defendant's table. The judge sentenced him to 8 years. Outside, Sebastian waited with coffee. Ready for our next case? He asked. I smiled. Always. If this story touched you, remember, you don't need to be a lawyer to demand justice. You don't need wealth to stand up for what's right. You don't need power to hold the powerful accountable. All you need is the courage to say no when someone tries to take what isn't theirs, the knowledge to know your rights, and the strength to use your voice. Victoria proved that true power isn't found in money or control. It's found in protecting human dignity and upholding the rule of law. That's the kind of strength that changes the world. Thank you for watching to the end. If today's story touched you even a little, please hit subscribe so you won't miss new episodes every week. Which moment hit you hardest? Was it when Victoria negotiated the price of her own kidney just to get evidence? When she sued 10,000 people at once? Or when Marcus finally understood what he'd done? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video so the algorithm knows you want more stories of justice, accountability, and people who refuse to be victims. If you're watching from a particular city, share where you're tuning in from. I'd love to see how wide our community reaches. Remember, whether you're in New York, Lagos, Manila, the law should protect everyone equally. Stay blessed, stay bold, and never let anyone tell you that justice is only for the powerful.